Welcome back, and this is part 2 of the episode Divinity with Prema. Hope you guys enjoy.
And we all have. Ooh. You see what I'm saying? So you kind of get like antsy about it.
Yeah.
You know, and or you like you said, usually that's why they say the black sheep will rule now, because the so-called black sheep was the one who didn't go along with the family, didn't go along with everybody else said. They like, it doesn't feel right. Oh, you're so selfish. I'm selfish for me. Like I feel better being like this. It seems selfish because I'm not falling in line with everybody.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So you're dealing with people like that, because we all think got like 8-9 billion people, whatever they line tells about who's on the planet. But how many people's on the planet? There's so many different people that are different.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's that too. You're dealing with somebody who might be dealing with something emotional, and they're having a hard way of it, and you come in with your, well, you just suck it up type of situation. Doesn't work. Mm-hmm. Or people get closed mouth about things. They'll be like, you know what, I don't want to say anything, because if I say how I feel, no one's going to get it, or they don't want to get it. Mm-hmm. You know, mm-hmm. So people stay, you know, more reserved.
Mm-hmm. 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 I like that. Mm-hmm. That's pretty. My mind is like, you got my mind going right now.
I'm sorry, this tea is so freaking weak. Is the tea weak?
It's fine.
Okay. It was my morning tea I made, and I put one on a setting, but
yeah, your first one last time was hitting.
Mm-hmm.
Busting.
Yeah.
Your first one.
Yeah. That door is bothering me. Is that door bothering me? It's bothering me. Is it getting hurt? I hear the door creaking.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
You don't know.
I'm gonna handle that.
You can. Yeah.
Yeah.
You good.
I don't know how you do things. You know. I should edit.
Yeah, it's fine. Listen. Well.
There's a hook. Okay, there you go, buddy. Excuse me. Yeah, so. Yeah, so that's what Prema is. When you ask me about my name, that's being Prema. That's being of love. It's really like being what divine source would be in human form. Mm-hmm. So that's what I mean, without being nutsy about it. You know what I'm trying to say? Mm-hmm. You know, like I'm God. You know, it's not. We all have it in us. But I'm trying to say is, since my Aquarius ways, or whatever you want to say, I'm a person who like sticks to. Once it's really in my head, I stick to it. I'm more amped about it.
Yeah.
But that's what Divine Source wanted me to be at this time in 2023, when it's time to go, when the portholes opened up. Actually, the new world's really here. So now it's time to usher people in this vibration.
Right.
It's the only way you're going to be allowed. That's your stamp. You know, I've been here before. I just went out for a smoke. That's your stamp. Mm-hmm. It's the fact that your vibration is high. Mm-hmm. When it comes to your eating, when it comes to your attitude, when it comes to all of that, low vibrational individuals won't make it there. And the reason why I wasn't done in one snap, because you would blow up, you would implode if you tried to get to a high vibration like that in one snap. Mm-hmm. So it has to be gradual, and it's been going on for, I think, at least 20 to 30 years, where these conversations, just the eating habits, being more loving. That's how the vibration actually is. And somebody go, what are you talking about? You know, love don't pay your bills and all that kind of stuff like that. That's another way of thinking about things. Yeah. Actually, it can.
It actually can.
And love is everything, because love, me being a Reiki.
Yeah.
Reiki's energy.
Yes.
Energy work, and everything is energy.
Everything.
This table, everything is energy. Mm-hmm. This conversation. I love comedians. I'm comedic. Why? When you're dealing with comedians, you're in another world. You're laughing so hard, you're not thinking about anything. The bills, nothing. They take you to another vibration. Making love, another thing. You somewhere else.
Right.
That's a beautiful vibration. Mm-hmm. You know, so that's what we have to really go towards, and not think so much with what's happening on TV. That's why they say right now it's heart chakras. Heart chakra linked to the mind. You're supposed to be moving with your heart, not even pre-thinking. Well, is that working out for me? Do I look stupid when I do it? Well, did you feel like doing it? Did it? Then do it. Now is that person going to get this back to me? Nothing to do with that. Move with your heart. That's the vibration. That's what's happening right now. If you want, and like I said, I probably say I don't really want to come back here. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect, Earth. You know what I'm saying? But like I don't. I like how I feel when I'm on Earth in this vibration now. So I can imagine I'll even love it better when I'm no longer with this body, just hopping around. So I just want to do some other places, Yeah. And so,
which you are, right?
Well,
you're just tuned into this world.
So that's how I feel about it, and I want everybody to understand that, because I want as many people to go to the new world that they say is possible and vibrate high. Why? Because it feels good, and I want them to feel good, and I want to be around people who feel good. I don't like the worries that people have. I truly feel it, and I truly don't. It really hits me when I go outside. I can't explain it, I don't even like when somebody has a ill face on. Like, somebody's displeased. Like, it's weird with me. I can see somebody burst out and laughing inside of a car, and that's me. I'm happy for them. Like, oh my God, I wonder what they said, or blah blah blah. It's that kind of thing. I really like that. Yeah. So, like I said, I'm not a people pleaser. I'm really like a Prema pleaser. I'm trying to please me. When I'm pleasing somebody, it makes me feel good when I'm, like I said, I was telling my friend the other day, because when I was a little younger, I used to be very, very, I said I'm comedic. I had a friend who told me, you're a comedian. I said, no, because I don't get on stage and make money at it. So I said, I won't call myself a comedian. I said, but I'm highly comedic. And I said, I used to walk around like it was a gun because I was so good at it. Really. I've been called Black Seinfeld. I've been called this back when all kinds of stuff, like Rich Pryor from Older Cats. I was like, I like making people laugh because they vibrated nice. Yeah. And you feel it. So comedians they must really just like busting a nut or something like that. I'm trying to say, because they getting a whole audience.
Man.
And that's why when I'm a big hip hop fan too. I was talking the GOAT, as they call him, who made up that term, LL Cool J. I said, I wonder how it is to be him. I said, now there's a lot of other rappers out there. I said, but he's been the shit since he was a kid. He's been on people's walls. He don't know a day hardly, maybe when he was very young, that he wasn't the man.
Right.
He's been to so many. So how can I say it? The energy that he's received, it almost can't be topped. Almost how many crowds and other stars too. Eminem's and whoever. I just think of him because I happen to like his whole his whole style about him, and he seems grounded. That's why a lot of, I don't know if I told you this before. I might have said it to someone else. These stars when they pass away, and they pass away from eating bad, it's because the dopamine. Like let's say your career, you was like 25, 30, and you was it, and hundreds of thousands of people, more than that. Everything's popping. It's been this high. Now your career changed, kind of like here. You want that feeling again. That's why people are on drugs, because they want that hit of that. When people smoke crack, they want that same hit again, and they'll never get it again. Yeah. Right? That's how people have addiction problems. Right. Same thing with them, that dopamine. So I take my hat off to those who know how to stay grounded, who've been famous like that, and find other things to get into or to be, and that's why they know to give. Because when you give, then you can never run out of that, and you're always going to feel good from getting that from the person who had less than. Right. But if you try to get what you used to get back in that time from outside sources, it won't work. You're gonna kill yourself. Yeah. You're gonna kill yourself either with drugs or burger. You know what I'm trying to say? It kills you, like Witherspoon, John Singleton. When I seen the pictures of them when they passed, I said they look like their necks was like this. They probably eating well, too much whatever foods. Because they have to fulfill that dopamine back when their career was hot, and they're not doing it like that. So they're tending to themselves another way. And I've dealt with it myself. If I've dealt with something that's missing in my life, I'll say, go towards more sugar.
Yes, that's been revealed to me. I noticed that if something sour happens to me, then I need something sweet to balance that out. But I'm grounded enough to know not to go too far with it. Oh. It's just it balances out. And I think, with you talking about that, that's what a lot of people need to hear the spiritual aspect of what you see in the physical, because it's as above, so below. It's not just what they're telling us, oh, he died from whatever the case, but from a spiritual aspect, it's so much more. So how do we tap into that? That's tapping into the divinity of source, right? How do we tap into the spiritual aspect so that we can see, okay, this is really trying to say that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, definitely. I can't let you read everything in the book, or some things are personal, but like I'm scripted inside there. And when I was looking, I said, oh wow, I'm writing new ways of looking at life in this book right here. But it's definitely that. It's just that no one ever tuned into it that way. But I have. I've tuned into it. I said, once again, it's just spiritual. I said, but if you give, then it'll you don't need the sugar. You don't need the extra food. You don't need that, because you will feel it. Just like how I said, I feel it. You will feel it, and it will balance out what you're looking for on that external level. Because it's beautiful when you get it from the external level. I'm sure on this planet, as a star or something like that. And like I said, you were young, you got it in the fanfare, but it dies down. How do you get it back? No one wants to check for your rhymes no more. You was hot in the 90s. You know what I'm trying to say? And you don't know how to write that well, so you can't get it from there again. So then you go, like I said, you don't want them to go towards sugar, because that's going to kill them. It's going to rattle your brain. When you eat too much sugar, it makes your brain go zzz, and you can't think of anything. Diabetes, the whole thing. But it's because you was trying to make yourself feel good. When you have loss of love, I noticed that. Because I was dealing with something, and I was like, I'm bugging with the sugar, because something else was sweet. So I said, well, this will be sweet. You know what I'm trying to say? But I know, like yourself, I know how to check myself. And I can even script it. And I'll tell people all the time, you can script this out. You can just say, I don't do that anymore. People don't believe it when I say it, but it's really true. I've made myself turn away from a lot of different things by journaling properly and saying, I don't do that anymore. And how great I feel because of it, to get that out, so that my penal, my subconscious will go, okay, he says he doesn't do it anymore. And then I stop grabbing candies and stuff like that. But you still have to find something else to fill that space, and that's why it's best to be serving. Until whatever else balances out, or whatever, something like that. But it's all a balance, and it's all to do with that. It's very simple. Things it's very simple, but we weren't taught that. And somebody will go, "What are you talking about?" But of course, when you think about it that way, it makes sense. You miss it, and as a human being, you always want the last thing you had that was hot. Like even if you hung out with your girls, let's say, and you say, "Remember we had that great time?" Da 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 da. Yo, let's do it again. It's never how it was the last time. That was that time.
Yes. And that is the importance of cherishing people in the space you come in. And then that's also, I'm seeing too, that's also where the detachment comes from, because detach from that experience, because you're not going to feel that way again. So we cover that in love, and we're able to move on and create new experiences. And for me, going back to when we were talking about the detachment, I found beauty in that. Appreciating the space that we're in this moment, as high as possible in this moment, right? Because we're not going to see this space again.
Have fun with it.
We'll see it in a past life, right? The memory, we'll see it in a past life, but that feeling, we're not going to...
Well, you can't repeat it.
Right.
But you can bring it back. And I tell everybody this, use it though. Use that good time. I think I told you before, there was something that happened to me funny a long time ago. And when I'm feeling the worst, I think about it. I don't care what it is.
Right, which is a past.
Because it was so funny to me that my body doesn't remember. Your subconscious mind does not know the difference between anything.
Right.
So I'll think about when I'm driving. I'll think about if somebody told me something real. If I'm boo-hooing about something. Even if I meditated, there's never been a time that I didn't think about that episode, because it was one of the funniest episodes that ever happened to me, where tears came out my eyes that I don't laugh. So you can use those good moments, but you can't duplicate those moments. And if you try to, you're going to drive yourself crazy. And now this is another thing. People who compare will always be crazy, because they're always trying to do something identical and stop and say, no, it's not just like that. It's like, listen, it's never going to be like that again. Chill out. Well, you got a little bit more than I did. Chill out. Stop comparing. Do you have enough though? Yeah, I have enough, but it's not as much. Then stop it. Because you're going to drive yourself crazy. So you're driving yourself crazy, also trying to duplicate that time that you had because the moon was different and somebody wore this that day, so whatever. But you will have another good time. But if you're feeling bad, you can think about it. And your body will go, oh, that's funny.
Right,
you know what I'm trying to say? And then you can use it that way.
So to me, that's remote viewing.
Okay, I don't know these words. I don't, but that's what it is then, yeah.
Yeah, remote viewing is where you see yourself, it's, I don't know if you're saying you're going back as far as in the body of in the past.
I'm not doing all that deep. Just think about it.
Okay.
I'm just making myself remember that moment.
Yeah.
And going, oh, and I start giggling and laughing. I mean, every time it was so funny. Me and a good friend of mine. Mm-hmm. And it's so funny because I have like 2 more moments with this particular person. Mm-hmm. His name, he's no longer with us, but his name was Antonio Gooding. And tears out my eyes, laughing. Tears. The funniest times. And he's been gone now 3 years. I haven't seen him even before that for years. But does he work for me still? Man, that thing's got, I mean, I'd be boohooing about nothing. I'm a punk. Sometimes I'm very emotional. I can be because of how I incorporate love inside my thinking. It sometimes, it can make me, so I still bust a cap. It's not what I never do that. You know what I'm trying to say, but seriously. And it's helped me out. And it never fails. It will bring me out. So I said, wow, you're still serving me, even though, you're pushing up daisies, he's still serving me. And that's what's so beautiful for Divine Source that gives us that ability to do that. Divine Source gives you so many skills, but we wasn't taught those type of things. To how to protect us, how to, do something good for yourself, not smoke a cigarette, you don't have to have a drink, which does not serve you. Think of something that was funny. That you already have there, and it'll help get you out this situation until you trip into something else that's dope in your life, and you'll be all right. It's really that easy.
That needs to be heard. Yeah, that needs to be heard.
We're saying it.
Right. That's dope. That needs to be heard. Yeah.
I want to. I mean, I'm really buzzing spiritually and mentally because I feel like I'm going to have another apex, I'm sure, but I'm at my apex now. For all my studies, how I feel, I understand the Divine Source wants me to do this. I understand it now, like not like a part-time job for me. So I was like, okay, this is what I am. So yeah, I want to be heard, but not for ego purposes. Right. I want to. And one time I had an ego, but no, I just want it to be heard because it's going to help people and it's going to help me once again because I love that feeling. You see what I'm saying? And I know people need it. They're just not used to thinking that way. They're not used to it, and you can help yourself out so much.
I think that's why I love this because it gives me that love feeling, the community, the service to one another, to hearing one another, feeling one another. That it does it for me. It really does. It's my source, in my world, my reality, it's my source of love, service to the community, with wisdom, knowledge, but overall divine love, Yeah.
And you were put here to do that. I mean, how can I put it? Not you just happen to be the one. Put it that way, because like when I say put here, it's like all right, well, put her here. It's not like that. Yeah. The energy that is around you. Has a strength coming from whatever, I believe in Big Bang and the swirl of everything happening over again. I know about the energy of you. This just happens to be your body. So that energy happens to be powerful. So whatever part of the cosmos, especially you being Aquarius, I'm being Aquarius, and we being in the time of Aquarius, and anybody can look up what it is to be Aquarius. You're the one to take care of those type of things, and that's why you feel compelled to do it, and you feel good when you do it. Not like somebody looking like, oh, they just want to do some more good. We're trying to save world. It's I am
maybe yes,
but not because not for ego purposes.
It's not.
That's what I'm trying to say. Not for ego purposes.
It's not, and yeah, I think. And it took me a minute to I've accepted the calling a long while ago, the answer to myself, the call to myself, right? but it was, I had to get ego in order. I had to get ego in submission of me, of the truth, of divine source.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that too is the reason why it's like I was kind of dragged. I was being in Father Time, Saturn, you know, and really dragging and having to go through the lessons. So when I do step up, it's like, you know, you move it's easy to move with the heart. It really is. And although we deal with the ego, which is 3D, this is 3D is the ego, okay? So although we deal with this plane as the ego, if you, we're giving ways to transcend that. I'm gonna say that.
I mean, the ego is needed.
It's very much needed.
You know, you won't even get up today if you never.
It's very
so,
much needed.
But you just have to understand.
But there's a submission to it.
Why I'm doing this is not for my ego.
Right.
The ego that I have gives me the strength to be what I'm supposed to be, so people can lock into what I'm saying, but not so I can be the hot one.
Right.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Right.
Even if you are the hot one in someone else's perspective, to yourself, like, I'm blessed that I know that I'm blessed that Source gave me this power to do this. Gives me charisma.
Yes.
All that Source gave you all that stuff,
Right.
so people listen to you. You can't be some willy-nilly person trying to say these profound things
Right.
and nobody lock into you.
Right.
So Source gave you the charisma. It gave you whatever it is. It gave you the gumption to do it. Don't let your ego get mixed up with that.
Right.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Right.
Say, wow, I got all these powers so I can help other people out.
Right.
And understand that.
That is always my
and you
check.
You always have to redo it, because we was
Yes.
raised inside this world that says, well, I'm the hot nigga, right? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, because that's what they know. I'm the hot dude. And you get into the energy that people are giving you on that third dimension,
Right.
you know,
Right.
materialistic view.
Outside.
And you're going to deal with it, but you have to deal with it. Because as you go further and you say these gems, and you get a following because you want to follow them. If you don't want to follow them because you want to follow them, you want to follow them because more people are going to be this.
Right.
You got to say, I can't let that get to me.
Yeah.
You see what I'm trying to say? Yeah, because you can easily let it get to you because, wow, now I got this following here because of me. It's because of you, but Source gave you the energy to do that.
Right.
Because he was doing some business for Source.
Right.
Source, like, I need people in the new world, bro. And so you're a person and I'm not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to
I
say?
need you to,
And like that. And not that Source has that type of conscious, but that's what I'm trying to say. You happen to have that energy around, and whatever happened in the cosmos when you was born, and it got around your body. And so your body is reacting to that energy that's around you that is so powerful, because that's what was happening when the moons was aligned when you was born, and that's why you are what you are. And some people may not have it as strong, but they have something else that's great about them. You see what I'm trying to say? But for this mission, you're that person. But a lot of people get wrapped up in it. You know, I won't mention any names because it would be not. But there's a couple of holy people, or so-called holy people that people follow, and I see that their ego is part of it now. I don't want to mention the person's name. Now, Dalai Lama, I love Dalai Lama. Like, he's Dalai Lama. There's some other people you can tell it's like, okay, they know who they are. You know? And so now they're kind of coming with just their point of view. When I speak, you know, it sounds kind of hokey. It's Source.
Well, yeah.
And it's only Source. Like, I might not even agree with some of the things that I'm going, but since I check it, I go, okay, Source said this, and I'm not just using just Source, I'm using other things that I've been studying and other mentors and everything, and then my own brain and my own, and I go, well, this is the best way to deliver this to anybody without being biased, and that's what I give. Not like, well, if I do this will get me this. It ain't about that. I'm not trying to do anything to get me anything.
Right.
I'm trying to deliver the best message to somebody who would be ready for that message at the time, to help them along, so that they don't have to deal with any kind of grief, sorrow. They can make themselves feel good and have a high vibration. And I realize that the things that I get through my meditation, when I even write it out, I go, this is pretty much on point. You know, I think I will deliver this. It's like that. It ain't really coming from me. It's coming from all the things that I've studied, and then I deliver it like this.
Interesting. Okay. Interesting.
And I study so many different people. You know, I mean, a big mentor of mine is Bob Proctor. You know, he's passed now, but there's just so many philosophers and different people who know about source energy and understand what this is really about, and just teaching people how to navigate on this planet and with these bodies.
Right.
That's the conversation.
Right.
Because if you move with your heart, it's like moving like the gaseous, beautiful thing that you are when you move with your heart. You see what I'm saying? But the other things, when you think about it, then that's like, am I going to get something out of it? Or this person going to see me? If I go over here, she's going to see me. That's some other thing. But when you're just moving properly, it's almost like you're moving like that energy that is around you when you move with your heart. And that's why I'm big into the color green and the heart chakra and all that. Even in my art, I'm incorporating it more often because that's what I'm on right now. And I think that's what people should be on. And that's basically it.
Yeah, nice. I like that. I think a lot can be taken away of what an aspect of source can use, and that means what an individual can use, you know, that you do, right, for the bettering of their reality and their world, you know. And I think that's what it's about, because who you are, again, like we talk about duplicate, that can't be, right? But there's a connection that they can tap into from their reality, from their perspective, to kind of mirror you, or that aspect, to tap into source and say, oh, okay, and raise their vibration. So I don't want people to get, you know, confused on the notion of, well, it has to be done this way. I don't think that's what we're saying. It doesn't have to, just because one does it this way, it's just giving a perspective of how it can be done in one's own life. What'd you say?
No, but I agree. When I say anything, I'm under the assumption that I'm not the only one going through it. So when I say it, I feel that I might be a little more well versed on how to deliver this because of what I studied. But when I say I know there's like 10 trillion people going through the same thing. Now when I say this, maybe they'll run it through their computer for them, and they can grab the parts they want to grab, or if they want to follow it, that's fine. But that's what it is. Yeah, like I said, it's not like do it like me because you want to be like me, and it's nothing like that. It's like, all right. But when you hear something, you go, oh, I'm down with that. It's like you hear a song and they go, that song was like somebody knew it was about me. There's 10,000 people going through the same thing that lyrics of those songs. You see what I'm trying to say? And so you pick out the parts for you. And when I feel called to do it, or I feel like it seems like a little bit of a gem that I might have, because me being poetic too, I'll link something together and go, wow, that seems kind of clever. You know, I think that would be something nice to tell somebody. And I just put it out there, and it's got to be somebody else going through it. So then that's what's going on. And so now it's time to ring the bell a little louder. Like I'm going to be setting up a stand around here in Atlanta, in different spots with the Reiki.
Nice.
Because Reiki is love.
Yes.
It's energy. So that's the best way to introduce this type of thinking. Is through the Reiki, and that's what I'm going to be doing because I feel called to it. And that's another thing. I seen somebody else that put this up before. They said it's past feeling stupid. Like I forgot who was, somebody with an Instagram page who's into spirituality, and they said you're thinking like, well, if I do this, I'm going to look silly or something like that. Or we are even past that. That's ego too. Like who cares? Right. The person who thinks you're silly, that is not the person you're talking to.
Right.
You're talking to the person who's going to stop and listen to what you're saying. That's the and it might only be one person.
And that's okay.
That's fine.
Because that changes. That's the ripple, the rock to the ripple.
So that's that. Do you feel just doing it? Do you feel comfortable doing it? You're not just doing it for ends, right? No. Okay. Well then, you ain't doing nothing else. Okay. Go out there and talk what you're going to talk. You feel good. Somebody's going to hear it. Even the person who's not going to stop with the grimace on their face. Like, hears it.
Yeah.
And they might go home and go, when that guy was saying blah 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 blah, and when they go to sleep or when they're laying down before that theta stage, and that kind of doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Once you hear it, you heard it. You know what I'm trying to say, and that's all I could ever ask for myself, if that's what I feel called to do. So anybody else, I think, who's starting to feel these things, because it's happening, it's rippling all over.
Oh yeah.
We're not the only ones, So it's like, If you feel silly, don't worry about that. You shouldn't even feel silly. Because if you feel called to do it, Source called you to do it. And go out there and see who you can help. And it may help you. Because you're going to just feel comfortable doing it. You say, well, I feel right doing this.
Right.
You know, and if you got something else to do, that's more important than to serve yourself or something else. You know,
right.
That's what you're supposed to do.
I love that. Well, let everyone know where they can reach you. Like for your services, for insight, wisdom, all that good stuff.
My Instagram page is True Reiki Love. I have 2 Instagram pages. I have one called Cosmopolitan Slop, which is my art page.
Okay, I see now. I was like, who's
Cosmopolitan Slop, right? Yeah. That's my art page.
Okay.
And now I'm still very much an artist. Trust me, you know, that's how I make my cash and all that stuff like that, along with the Reiki. Yeah. But what happened was I was called more towards spirituality. Yeah. And so that's why I've been hanging out on my Reiki page more often, and even I don't have a problem showing the art on there either, because the art is indicative of the Reiki, and also the love is going to that. So I don't feel like it's like, you know, a conflict of interest or anything like that. But yeah, so True Reiki Love is the page. Okay. My Reiki code, as I call it, is 100 Battlefield here in Decatur, and that's when I give my services here: meditation, Reiki, and I Reiki people here. So,
Nice. Well, I enjoyed this space with you.
Thank you.
This is amazing. I'm so glad we finally did this.
I'm laughing at how you first came in, and my energy at the time was like,
yeah. You can hear I'm like my voice is in my heart. That's another thing I've noticed. My throat chakra is sitting in my heart space more. So when I speak, my tone is very much different. I listen to like past videos of myself, and my tone is so different. Which when I'm teaching and giving messages, it comes from the crown, you know. So it's very light, a little higher and more. And then I have Aries in my chart, so you get that passion. And a lot of times I'm this, and so. But I've noticed a shift with my throat chakra.
Yeah, I have a young lady who told me that she could tell if I'm upset or not. Yeah. You know, and you can tell just here. I'm just kind of soft, and then it'll come from here. You know, when I'm in a confident mode. You know. Yeah. But once again, being a Reiki or a person who, you know, reads people, that helps you out when you hear somebody like that. You know, okay, I know where they're at. I know where I have to attack for them. You know, or concentrate on. You know. Yeah. It's all communication.
Yeah. Well, thank you again.
No problem.
Episode down of Divinity. So excited.
What if I told you that whatever it is you're looking for is already found? Listen to this. What if I told you that